Hey everyone, hope everyone is good, man. We are Decembering. By the time this episode come out, I'll probably be home already. I'm home now, home, which is Kruonstad. But by the time the episode comes, I'll probably be back in Pretoria, which is where I reside full time throughout the year. My Xhosa, they normally say people like us are makuduga. We are those people, we are migrant workers. We go out there to hustle and try to get some economic advantages, try to get some money, try to actually become the people that we have intended to become, and then we go to places that give us opportunities. That's basically what this thing is all about. So I'm home as one of those migrant workers, and I'll be going home where I live, where I'm a migrant, but then it has become my home for some time now. Now, today I want to talk about a few things. One of the things I want to talk about is this thing called the underground music. Before I do that, let me remind you to subscribe. Let me remind you to like and hit the notification button so that when I post something, you are able to be part of it. Now, like I said, I want to talk about the underground scene. I want to talk about the underground scene. The underground scene So the underground scene, I want to define it this way. The underground scene is underground because people who are doing it don't want to be known by the mainstream, or they are not part of the mainstream, but they have been around for a while. They have been around enough for them to, they've made them, their target market is basically a niche market. Let me just put it that way. Then you have the underground scene. They are underground because they are not known and they are new in the scene. And this is a very important scene because this is a scene where everybody you pay your school fees. What do I mean by this? Is because this scene operates exactly the way the mainstream operates. So it's like it's an industry. It's an industry in itself. It works exactly like the mainstream industry. It's just a smaller industry. It just caters for a smaller audience. Sometimes it caters for a bigger audience. Like I'll give an example. In big cities like in your New York, your Paris, and everything else, you find people who have a big following, but they are still part of the underground scene. So they are doing their music underground, and they are servicing the underground market, but they are bigger. I don't know if that makes sense. They're just bigger people. So yeah, that's more or less what it is. So I don't know. I feel that we need to really understand. That the underground scene in its current form, it needs to be promoted. It needs to be encouraged. It needs to exist, because without it we don't have mainstream. Let me just tell you that without the underground scene we don't have mainstream. However, let me just try and hoy in something else that I just remember now. The issue of social media. Now, you see, social media has become our source of where we get these people. But remember, the problem with social media is that it's everything. Like, it's not specific. You're not specifically getting people that you want to get. But it's really interesting. I'm talking about this. There was something called MySpace once upon a time. You see, MySpace was specifically for that. Prior to Facebook, there was MySpace, and almost everyone I know was on MySpace. And MySpace had also what they call MySpace Music, and then underground musicians or unknown musicians, or musicians generally, they used to showcase their music on this thing. and it was quite huge. I mean, I remember it was quite huge. I don't know, like that's basically what will show you how trends change. Today it's like we've never heard of MySpace, or MySpace never existed. But that thing existed and it was huge. It was bigger than Facebook. There was no Instagram then, there was no Twitter then. The first one that came out, I think, also that I knew about was Facebook, and it took me a while to actually get into Facebook to really understand how it works. But social media has become that, and social media now acts like a space. But social media, like I'm saying, it's not doing much for specific people because it works for everybody. So it depends on how well you articulate yourself and how well you lead people to your page for people to understand what is it that you do. And yet we have spaces, physical spaces, like where I live in Pretoria. There's something called Black Labone. It happens each and every single Thursday, as they say, Black Labone, and it gives platform to these people, to these young people. Some of them are not so young anymore. So this is where I sometimes go on Thursdays, and this is where I meet people. This is where I meet a lot of musicians there. I meet a lot of actors, a lot of practitioners. Basically, I still meet them there. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the soul and R&B scene. The soul and R&B scene. It's not as American as it sounds. It has become our thing. It has become a South African or an African phenomenon. Because remember, Americans have created this music and they exported this music. And now we are consumers of it, but we are also creators of the same thing. And we create what we can also export to them, back to them. That's basically what we're doing. We can be able to do that. But why is this scene so big now? It's because of nostalgia, or the nostalgic element. People are reminiscing on who they used to be. So it happens a lot on Sundays, and you find soul and R&B sessions everywhere in South Africa. You'll find this, probably even outside of South Africa, maybe in Botswana, Lesotho, and Swaziland. You would find, even in Namibia, you would find some of these things that are happening, and you have DJs that are the biggest part of this, and they are a very important part of this. Now, you also have you find performers. Now, let me be honest with you will not find a lot of performers anymore in the scene. You don't find a lot of them, not necessarily because they're not there. They are there, but the reason why you don't find them is because the DJs have become the stars of the show. They have become the star of the show. So these guys, they just play music, and there's nothing wrong with that. If they could introduce us even to these guys, if they could give these guys a platform, not necessarily a stage, but even play their music. When you play their music, you give them, because that's what a DJ does. You tell people about what they don't know, you educate them. That's what you do as a DJ. Basically, in any genre, that's what DJs do. In fact, in other genres, DJs are excited to play you stuff that nobody knows. It's always exciting to give you something new. It's something that happens a lot. In my piano, you find that. In house, you find that. But jazz and R&B, there's still a struggle. People play more old stuff than new stuff. They don't even know new stuff. As a matter of fact, they don't even know new stuff. They are not even interested in new stuff because their market is mainly in the old stuff. So now, live performers, I believe we have slacked because we have not created anything for ourselves, things that cater for us. So now we depend on DJs to do this for us. Now, DJs, I also don't blame them in a way. I only blame them because as role players, they need to be in the know. They need to be out there to try and understand what's happening. And they need to allow. In fact, when you approach them as a performer, they feel threatened, as a matter of fact. The truth of the matter is, they can't do what you can do. and you can't do what they can do. And I don't know what is the threat about. I don't understand it. I don't get it. But that's just the reality of what's happening. So we need to curb this for the growth and for the benefit of this scene. So those are two things that I wanted to talk about. This Sunday, I'll be doing the music of Men of Standards, and I'll be doing Grover Washington Jr.'s song as well. And I'll tell you a little bit more about this song. But for now, I'm happy. I hope you're still enjoying your December. Make sure that you subscribe, you like, you share, and you tell all your friends about the Intimate Affair. Thanks a lot.